They said the full-size American sedan was dead. They said the era of the long, low, powerful four-door, the kind that made a statement just sitting still, had been buried under crossover economics and quarterly earnings calls. They were wrong, and this, right here in front of me, is the proof. Welcome to Premium Car Reviews, where we don't just talk about what cars do. We talk about what they mean, and what this 2027 Chevrolet Impala means is something the industry hasn't seen in a long time. A resurrection, not a nostalgic cash grab dressed up in retro clothing. An actual, honest-to-God, next-generation engineering statement from a company that decided it had one more thing to say about what an American flagship sedan could be. Now, before we go any further, there is one decision Chevrolet made during development of this car that is going to divide opinion sharply when this thing hits the road. It involves how the engine delivers its power, and it is either going to be celebrated as the smartest thing GM has done in 2 decades, or it's going to start arguments that last for years. We'll get there, stand here, and look at this thing without moving. Just take it in. The Impala has always carried a certain kind of gravity, a wide, planted confidence that communicated authority without aggression. The 2027 generation doesn't abandon that, it deepens it. The roofline sweeps in a long, controlled fastback arc from the base of the windshield all the way to the integrated spoiler, pulling your eye across one of the most deliberately composed surface areas on any modern sedan. There are no random creases here. Every line has a job. The shoulder rises sharply just above the door handles and then releases into that broad, flat haunch over the rear wheels. Wheels that push outward almost defiantly, filling the arches in a way that makes the car look like it was carved from a single block of obsidian. The face is wide and commanding. The grille carries that distinctive Chevrolet crosshatch architecture, but it's been reinterpreted in layered dark mesh with a chrome surround that manages to feel both modern and timeless simultaneously. Flanking it are precision-cut LED headlamps with a triple-element signature that scalpels a thin white line across the front end like a scar of intent. The front splitter uses exposed carbon fiber at its lower edges, a detail that reminds you this car is not purely decorative. The 22-inch multi-spoke wheels are polished to a mirror finish, and behind each one you can see gold-painted 6-piston brake calipers that are not just cosmetic. Those are serious hardware. At the rear, the full-width LED tail lamp bar stretches across the trunk lid, connecting both sides with a continuous amber-to-red sequence that glows with quiet, controlled power. Impala is spelled out in clean chrome lettering across the center of the tail, and below it a diffuser section organizes 4 exhaust outlets into a geometry that is athletic without being theatrical. The proportions across this entire car communicate one thing very clearly. This is a machine built for distance, for presence, and for permanence. Open the door. It's heavier than you expect. There's a vault-like quality to the seal, the kind of density that tells you the engineers weren't cutting material budgets here. Settle into the driver's seat, and the interior architecture wraps around you in a way that feels both enveloping and completely natural. The quilted leather surfaces across the front seats and door panels carry deep diamond stitching in a pattern that is precise enough to look almost mechanical. The material itself, a semi-aniline leather, has a faint grain you can feel under your fingertips rather than a plasticky shine. There's a warm, understated scent to the cabin. Leather, a trace of suede from the headliner, and something faintly metallic from the brushed aluminum accents running along the dash and center console. The steering wheel fills your hands properly. Thick-rimmed, with a flat bottom section, it's wrapped in perforated leather with a tactile grip that communicates confidence without being overly sporty. The instrument cluster is a fully configurable digital display that presents clearly and without visual clutter, flanked on the right by a wide infotainment screen that runs in one seamless glass panel across most of the dashboard. It does not feel like a tablet bolted onto a shelf. It is integrated into the architecture, flush with the surface, and the ambient lighting traces thin white lines along the top of the dash, the door cards, and above, along the headliner in continuous arcs that make the cabin feel like the inside of something very expensive and very considered. The rear cabin is genuinely extraordinary. Headroom is generous for a fastback roofline. Individual rear screens fold out from the front headrests, and a dedicated touchscreen sits between the rear seats with its own climate and entertainment controls. Passengers back there are not an afterthought. Now, the engine. And here is where we arrive at that engineering decision I mentioned at the start. Chevrolet's development team has reportedly targeted a twin-turbocharged 6.2-liter V8 for the Impala's performance variant, internally projected to produce in the range of 680 to 720 horsepower and approximately 650 pound-feet of torque sent through a 10-speed automatic transmission to all four wheels. Rear-wheel drive remains available in the standard configuration. The numbers are serious for a luxury flagship. But here is the controversial part. In the performance trim, Chevrolet chose not to go supercharged. They chose twin-turbo. And in a segment where the bark of positive displacement forced induction has historically defined the emotional experience of an American performance sedan, that decision is going to generate conversation. The twin-turbo calibration reportedly prioritizes mid-range swell and linear delivery over the immediate surge of a blower. It's a more refined personality. Whether that's the right choice for a car wearing this nameplate is a question enthusiasts are going to debate with genuine heat. Press the start button. The V8 settles with a low, authoritative idle, a deep, steady pulse that you feel through the seat cushion more than you hear through the cabin isolation. The exhaust note at rest is controlled, measured, present, without being loud. Blip the throttle and the tone sharpens immediately, a muscular mid-range snarl that builds into something genuinely serious in the upper revs. There is no artificial amplification through the speakers here. That is the real character of the engine coming through the cabin management system with only light attenuation. Activate sport mode and the exhaust valve opens further, and suddenly the personality shifts. On wide open throttle, the sound is deep, aggressive, and layered, with a turbine-like swell from the turbos building beneath the V8's natural resonance. Shift paddles on the steering wheel produce sharp, authoritative gear transitions with a satisfying mechanical click and a brief flare of exhaust with each downshift. At high RPM, this engine does not scream the way a supercharged unit does. It surges. It builds momentum with violent conviction, and then keeps pulling where a blower might begin to flatten. On the road, the first impression is one of mass managed with genuine skill. The Impala is not a small car, and it does not pretend to be. The steering is hydraulically assisted, another deliberate engineering choice by Chevrolet at a time when almost everyone else has gone fully electric. And the result is a weight and road feel through the wheel that communicates texture and camber in a way that feels alive. Settle into a long, sweeping on-ramp, feed in the throttle progressively, and the rear-wheel drive variant rotates with a natural, balanced composure that rewards patience. The adaptive suspension system reads the road surface continuously, and on broken pavement the damping behavior is almost imperceptibly smooth. Long-distance isolation is excellent. You can cover genuine interstate miles in this car without fatigue. The seat support is substantial. The road noise management is thorough, and the cabin remains composed and quiet even at highway speeds. Chevrolet's AI-driven driver assistance suite operates quietly and without intrusion. Adaptive cruise control, lane-keeping support, and the wide-angle camera monitoring system learn your preferences over time and calibrate their sensitivity accordingly through over-the-air software updates. The system is not aggressive, it's attentive. There is a meaningful difference. Estimated pricing for the 2027 Impala is expected to begin in the range of $62,000 for the base configuration, with the performance twin-turbo variant projected to approach $80,000 to $85,000 fully equipped. That is real money. But spend time with this car, really spend time with it, and you understand what the investment actually represents. You are not buying a specification sheet. You are buying into a lineage that stretches back to 1958 and has meant something to American driving culture in almost every decade since. You are buying a car that was engineered by people who understood the responsibility of reviving a nameplate this significant and chose not to apologize for its ambitions. There is a compromise here worth naming honestly. The rear seat footwell depth in the driver's side rear position is slightly compromised by the transmission tunnel, and for a car at this price point, that detail will frustrate some buyers. It is not a deal breaker, but it is real. The Impala is also a large car. At nearly 209 inches in overall length, it requires genuine parking consideration in urban environments. These are the trade-offs that come with building something of genuine scale and presence. This car belongs on an empty American interstate. At 11 o'clock at night, the city lights receding in the mirrors, the V8 settled into a quiet, rolling thunder under full torque. It belongs on long coastal highways where the horizon just opens up, and the question isn't where you're going, but how good it feels getting there. The 2027 Chevrolet Impala occupies a space in the automotive landscape that almost no other vehicle can honestly claim. It is not trying to compete with European luxury sedans on their own terms. It is not trying to be a muscle car. It is something rarer and more difficult to define. A full-size American performance flagship with genuine engineering sophistication, and 60 years of cultural identity informing every line and every decision. There is no true direct competitor for what this car is, because what this car is has not existed for a long time. This was built for the driver who does not need to explain their choices. Someone who appreciates engineering on its own terms, who understands that a car can carry meaning without needing to announce itself. A person who values the wide open freedom of a proper long-distance machine over the compressed, track-focused intensity that dominates performance car culture right now. They are someone for whom driving is not a hobby. It is a considered, deliberate part of how they move through the world. Before we close, we want to hear from you in the comments below, because this one genuinely deserves the debate. Is the twin-turbo V8 the right direction for a performance flagship like the Impala? Or does an American icon of this weight and legacy demand the instant, tactile fury of a supercharged engine? There is no clean answer. Both positions are defensible. Tell us where you stand. And if you want to be here when we put the Impala through its paces in a full road test, subscribe, because that is a conversation we are not going to rush. The 2027 Chevrolet Impala is not a comeback. It is a reckoning.